Dumelang, Absheni, Ralocha, Sanwanani, Mulweni. My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our community. The Gauteng Division of the High Court in Johannesburg has made a groundbreaking decision. Now, the court has ruled, right, that two apartheid-era police officers, which is Christian Rorich and Naledi Mfoloe, will face prosecution for crimes against humanity for their role in the 1982 murders of three anti-apartheid activists, with a fourth seriously injured. Now, the case concerns the tragic deaths of Madikela, Matabane, Nhlapo, and Zandisile Musi, known as the Cosas Four. Now, these young men were lured by the apartheid regime's security branch to a water pump station near Krugersdorp, where the police had actually rigged the building with explosives. Now, three of the activists were killed, and the fourth one, Zandisile Musi, survived but was left with life-altering injuries. Now, for years, right, their deaths were covered up as a failed attempt to train with explosives.
On the 15th of February 1982, Eustace Madikela, Peter Matabane, Fanyana Nhlapo, and Zandisile Musi, four Cosas members, were lured into a warehouse on the West Strand. Three of them died and one was severely injured.
We were left alone in this building and a grenade went off. I flew with the impact and the building was on fire. I couldn't see anything or move. My leg was injured. When I gained consciousness, Fenwell was next to me, badly injured. White policemen came and found me. They accused me of wanting to bomb the power station. They took me to a secluded area and continued interrogating me. One police put a gun into my mouth.
Forward Cradock Hospital, and that's when these boys were driven by another askari by the name of Joe Mamasela. They were driven to a mine dump in Krugersdorp, and that's where bombs were detonated. That is how we're finding ourselves here today. But I did have a chat with him in Rustenburg, where he currently resides, and this is a snippet of what he told me.
So I also came to South Africa because it's the only home I know. There was no country.
But you knew
where I come from. I knew that my life was in a balance, but I came nevertheless. And I told white people, I don't want to do anything to do with war in Zambia. I mean in NC. And with the white supremacy regimes. I told them like this.
But they didn't listen to that.
Tell me, the war is going on. You come from the NC, you are almost a senior in the NC, they're operating from the headquarters of the NC. You tell us you don't want to join us. You can either kill us, either kill you, or take you to prison for a very long time.
So they said kill you, prison, or work for us.
The prison was not actually so much assured, but what I could see, because when you are within the group of security office branch who are most white, and you could see they bring some informers who are senior government of Botswana crossing the river to affirm that we were in Botswana, and so and of course at that time I could not deny my psychological makeup. So anybody I was looking at, I was looking at an assassin. You see, so those days were terrible also for me, because I was feeling that my intention of owning up to my past and then letting me leave was not working. So my future then became uncertain, and then this is how finally they forced me to join South African police.
So that goes back to my first question then. Do we say Naledi Mfoloe, former apartheid askar?
Yeah, in a certain sense you can say that, but in a certain sense, I did not join the South African police by approving apartheid.
So was the Cosas for your first assignment as a SAPS member, or were there other assignments?
Oh, no, that was the first time.
Is it your only one?
Yeah, so far, yeah.
What makes this ruling so significant? Now, the court dismissed objections from Rorich and Mfoloe, who argued that the charges could no longer be pursued because too much time had passed. I know, right? Now, the court, however, made a historic ruling that crimes against humanity do not have an expiration date. And I believe that this is a monumentous decision affirming South Africa's responsibility to investigate and prosecute international crimes committed before and after 1994. And as a Black South African, I feel a sense of both relief and validation, because for far too long, those responsible for the atrocities of apartheid have avoided facing justice. And many have claimed that too much time has passed and that it's too late to prosecute. But this ruling tells us something very crucial, which is no crime, especially as painful as murder and torture, should ever have an expiration date. And the idea that time, right, would erase the pain caused by apartheid is not just unfair, but it's unthinkable. And it's easy, right, for some to assume that because apartheid is now in the past, those who lived through it should simply move on. But this ruling reminds us that the fight for justice continues and that the families of the Cosas Four have fought tirelessly for decades, and today their perseverance is finally being rewarded.
As families, we've met. There are certain aspirations we have, certain outcomes we expect. One is that if the process of negotiations that being entered to will make sure that all those involved face the music, not just one, because we have come to know that there were several of them, including Rorich, who's supposed to be an explosion specialist, who detonated and leading to death. We know that
it's been 43 years now. So really all we can do is keep coming to these court sessions to find out more about what's going on. As the family, we are still interested in finding out more. We still don't think that we have all the information about what happened.
This decision also brings to light a very painful truth, that these young men, full of hope and ambition, right, were betrayed by those who sought to protect them. They were caught in a web of deceit, of manipulation by members of their own community, like Mafala Pizza, for instance, who was also a Black man that lured them into the security branch by a false promise of support. And I believe it's an important reminder that the war against apartheid was not just fought on the streets, but in the minds of people manipulated by a government that used lies and exploitation to break its own citizens. But this is not just about one case. I think the legal standard set today is about all of us as South Africans. It is a moment that reaffirms that no one, not even those who served in apartheid police force, is above the law. And I am proud to see the resilience of our people, the Cosas Four families in particular, who have never given up on holding those responsible accountable. And this ruling is a victory for them and for everyone who believes in justice and in truth and in holding people accountable for their actions, no matter how long it actually takes. So today, we honor the memory of Madikela, of Matabane, of Nkapo, and Zandisile Musi, and we stand in solidarity with their families as they get one step closer to justice. Now, with that being said, please let's continue the conversation in the comments section. I'd really like to hear what your thoughts are on this. And while we at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet.